So Mein Führer Starmer was asked some questions about the new Online Safety Act, and at the same time he was sat down with President Trump, and I've got some thoughts. So let me just play you a section of the clip and then we'll talk about it.
We've got some measures which are there to protect children, in particular from sites like sites. We've had too many cases in the United Kingdom of young children taking their own lives, and when you look through their social media, they've been accessing sites which talk about suicide and encouraging, if you like, children down that road, and that is what we want to stop. Nothing about censoring free speech. But this country is the proud free speech in this country has been for a very long time. We're very, very proud of it.
Right, now there's two parts of the internet. You've got there's actually more than that, but simplification is that there's two parts of the internet. You've got the surface web and then you've got the deep web or dark web, and they're technically two different things. But you've got like your Googles and all of that, and then you've got everything that appears on the Tor browsers. Now, at the moment, the majority of people are using surface web. They're using things like Google, YouTube, and they're navigating these platforms. And to be honest, every single platform on the surface web is so heavily regulated that to find content like Starmer suggested, it's actually very, very, very difficult. You can find it. It does exist on the surface web, but it's very difficult. Now, the new Online Safety Act that they've introduced obviously means that using the internet above anything else is just more difficult now. You need ID with you. You need to do all of this stuff to navigate the web that you wouldn't normally need to have. Now, to get around this, people are using VPNs. Yes, you can get yours down below. 4 months free, 86% off, and it supports the channel. What a time to be alive. But you can use the VPN. You can use a Tor browser. And to get around all this stuff, you're going to see younger people, and I already know this, by the way, as a gaming channel with a young audience, the amount of comments I've had from that young audience telling me that they've immediately gone to a VPN to get around this. Some of these people are as young as 14, 15, 16 years old. They're using VPNs to get around all this regulation. They're now using Tor browsers, dark web browsers, to be able to use the internet as they would normally intend. Now, these people don't have nefarious activities that they want to do. They just don't want to give the government access to all of their identification information and all of that access to private companies. So what they're doing is just gravitating towards the platform that doesn't have these restrictions. Now, if you're watching this and you've ever used the dark web or deep web, whatever you want to call it, if you've ever used any of those services, it's very easy to find stuff that you don't want to see. It's very easy to find unsavory things. So what the government have now done is scared every child, every teen, every adult away from the surface internet, which, let's be honest, is all sunshine and roses compared to the dark web. And they're pushing everyone over to the dark web whilst parading around saying the children are better off. In what world? On what planet are children better off for the Online Safety Act? All they've done is push people away from the safe internet into the dangerous internet. But even then, with the dark web, it's fair to say you only find what you search for. And although it's possible to stumble across stuff that you don't want to see, it's almost impossible to do that on Google. Now, here's the problem with talking about stuff like this on YouTube. I've had to avoid saying the word, and the word that Starmer used, I've had to chop it up and cut it out. But children finding that sort of content is horrific. No one wants that. I don't want that. You don't want that. No one in their right mind wants that. And if you do want that, honestly, go fuck yourself. But like I've said in many previous videos, there's many ways to keep children safe online. Set up parental blockers on your home hub. Go on your child's phone and actually change what they can access in their settings. All of this stuff has existed and it's simple. I wouldn't even be that offended if they brought in some sort of law where ISPs have to naturally supply internet routers with child locks on, and you as an adult have to turn that off. I wouldn't be against any of that stuff, really. What I'm against is mass censorship. And obviously he tries to downplay the word censorship, and clearly someone's told Keir Starmer that the word censorship can't be used, but it is censorship. It is. You can't access some content that isn't like corn, isn't any stuff like that. There's some content that's to do with modern news, stuff that's happening in the media, things that are happening in our country that you can't access unless you're 18. Yet you can vote at 16. You can make decisions about what's happening in our country, but the government don't deem you old enough to be able to actually see what's happening in this country. I just think that it's absolutely, I know we say the word dystopian and I know it gets thrown around, but it is dystopian. You wouldn't believe this. You wouldn't believe this if anyone told you about this on the street. If someone was walking past you and said, by the way, you've got to now use your passport to listen to Spotify, no one would believe you. No one would believe you. Now, something else, and this is a slightly different topic, but I recently did a video on Yoti. Now, Yoti are one of the companies that have been entrusted by the British government to handle some of the data processing for face scans, biometric data, passports, all of this stuff. They're basically one of the companies that if you are a website host, say if you're selling, I don't know, vapes or something online and it's an adult only website and you need someone to handle the data processing because you don't want to handle passports yourself, people are going to Yoti to use them as their provider to do these safety checks. Now, in a previous video, I went through Yoti's privacy policy, and it was... You need to watch that video. It's so bad. But I actually didn't realize something. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. And boy, why did I do that? Why did I do that? What an idiot. What a dumb. So I said in that video that if you don't want any of your data shared with Yoti's third parties or the people that they send off your data to verify it, you can opt out. Yeah, you can opt out after you've given them some ID. I shit you not, to have your data wiped from Yoti servers, you have to give them ID, which, by the way, if we've learned anything from, example, the T hack, which I will be doing a separate video on, but the T app, they said that they only keep passport data for around 24 hours, and they've changed it repeatedly. It's been 24 hours, 7 days, 14 days, and 30 days. Well, it's actually been found that they've been holding on to people's private information for almost as long as the websites existed. How do we know that Yoti isn't doing the same thing? Yes, they say that they don't do it, but we've seen many cases of companies lying. Yes, believe it or not, companies do lie. Now, circling back to Starmer and his recent, I don't know, date with Donald Trump, is that what we call it? I am beyond words. There's two schools of thought here. There's two schools of thought. It's either our government's being controlled by a load of people that just don't understand the internet, which could also be very equally true, or there is a conspiracy within inside the government to do something nefarious, which could also be true. Different video. But the way that they're talking about things not being censorship whilst implementing a policy which is preventing data from accessing people, it's so bizarre. Circumventing their new Online Safety Act is considered illegal, but using a VPN isn't illegal. In fact, using a VPN to get around the Online Safety Act technically isn't illegal, but getting around the Online Safety Act is illegal, which is, it's like a good, it's probably a bad example, but it's like saying drink driving's illegal unless you're in a car. It's the exact same thing. Drink driving is illegal unless you're in a car. If you're in a car, it's not illegal because it's not drink driving, even though to be driving, you have to be in a car. I'm going crazy. I'm absolutely going crazy. But this is the thing, is they've implemented some regulation without understanding any of the laws, any of the context, any of the industry around it. And at the same time of them having conversations, they're going from, we want to make VPNs illegal, to the next day issuing a statement that they'll never make VPNs illegal. But then they add some caveat to that just 6 hours later, saying that using a VPN to circumvent that. Oh my God, it's just, it's beyond words. I'm beyond words. There's two links down below. One, obviously private internet access helps the channel. The second link is for the petition. The petition still keeps getting signatures. Obviously the government did respond, and you can watch that video about the government responding. I'm mirrored. I'm flipped backwards on my screen. Up there. Look at that. Look at that. I'm holding it. You can watch that video up there. Give me your thoughts down below, boys and girls. Give me your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I shall see you all in the next one.